All right.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about the show coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, so Beyond is our TV show that we're very excited about showcasing, and it follows the storyline of a boy named Holden who wakes up from a coma after 12 years and is unbelievably gets out of bed, and he's fine after leaving his family devastated for a dozen years, and he really has to come to terms with an entirely new reality that he finds himself in, and as well he is been granted these superhuman abilities that he sort of figures out and sort of discovers as he wakes up.
Haven't we seen things like this before, like someone in a coma or missing and all of a sudden comes back with powers? I mean, how is this one going to be different?
I think the difference is that his character's seen it too, and so have the other characters in the show. And so there's a level of self-awareness that the characters have that comes from the pilot. There's a tonal Spielbergian sense of, we've seen the horror movies, there's a whole runner in the first season about Berkeley not liking it when it's referred to as powers, because that's cheesy and he's seen those bad TV shows. So the hope is that I thought, I can say this because I didn't write the pilot, I thought the genius of the pilot was finding a way to capture something that, yes, is sort of a familiar or an accessible kind of starting point, and then finding this way of executing it that feels completely fresh. Because in a way you could say the same thing about, haven't we seen an alien visiting a community, or haven't we seen, it really does come down to the execution, and the self-awareness of this show is what I think is going to make it feel so fresh.
There's also the added mystery of when he was in that coma, where was his consciousness actually? Was he living a life? Where did he go? And that's a big part of the show as well.
One of the first things we said to each other when we sat down to lunch is that this can't be Witch Mountain, right? It's not about the evil government baddies trying to. I mean, on the surface, it can appear that way, but hopefully the fun of the show is that when you realize what it's really about, you realize it has all these values that those other Witch Mountain stories don't have. They're just the surface story. We have this entire other dimension that the character is exploring, is really the heart and soul of the show.
So what would you say is the real focus of the show then?
I still think it's a family drama writ large. I think it's about a young man trying to acclimate in a world that he has no affinity for, no background in, that no one can teach him. And then this struggle to kind of understand this other dimension becomes, in a way, a parallel metaphor for what he's going through in actual life, which is what I think makes it so accessible. It doesn't feel like hardcore sci-fi. It feels like you're watching, Friday Night Lights, or you're watching any youthful energy kind of storytelling, but it has this metaphorical power beneath it.
Do you feel that that's going to be enough to differentiate it from all of the other quote-unquote superhero shows that are on the various outlets that we have?
Because I never consider this a superhero show in that it's Berkeley, it's Holden fighting a villain who wants to do X, Y, and Z. I think the focus is very much on Holden and his family, and it is much more in the vein of the Friday Night Light shows. And I think taking that approach and focusing on, like E.T. was also just about a family. Close Encounters was this family. Taking a very, very, very character-centric approach to it, I think does separate it from a lot of the other stuff.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you already covered it, but Berkeley, what's your character's abilities? What's his superpowers?
Yeah, so Holden wakes up with these, I can say, sort of an ability to telekinetically manipulate the world around him. So it's sort of a manipulation of energy and matter, and the boundaries of which we sort of explore as the character finds out what he truly has and what that means for him.
Who's the love interest?
It's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of relationships, as we were just talking about, we explore in the show. There is, not that you referred to this, but there's the love of the family. There's family relationships. There's love that this boy finds in different people, and there's a lot of hate that he finds in different people. And I think that even in a very relatable point, as we said, rooting this in real life is that you can love someone and they betray you. You can love someone and you betray them. So there's a lot of different elements, and this is real life. So there are points of the story that are different, and the story constantly changes, and so do the characters.
I think on that, the whole love interest question, you have a character who's missed his adolescence, and suddenly he wakes up and he's 25 and he doesn't get the trial and error that I think most people do. And watching him stumble and fall and pull himself back up only to stumble again, I think is well, it's part of the fun of writing.
I was going to say it was part of the fun of doing
Yeah.
it. It's a very entertaining part of sort of seeing this character grow up and exactly do the
Well,
stumbling that we all do in our youth.
And the stumbling, again, is sort of then heightened by how he's stumbling in this larger kind of epic sense, in this kind of netherworld journey. So the reason why they're not powers per se, or the reason why the character Holden is balks at that, is I think explained well by, I think it's Willa who says they're not powers, they're consequences.
Yeah.
So they're like side effects basically to what he's been through. It's not like he waves his fingers. Something might happen that he absolutely doesn't want to happen at all at the worst possible time, right when he's about to maybe do something just to try to feel a little bit normal. So I guess maybe first act of Spider-Man, where the webbing is flying all over every place and he kind of doesn't know how to control himself, is a better analogy for Beyond than the superhero shows that you see on other channels.
Is there a reason for the name Holden?
What do you think?
I think Captain Rye. That's what I'm thinking.
I'd say you're on the right track.
I'm on the right track. That's all you can tell me.
So sort of the main character goes through something traumatic, and we follow him after that to see how he grows.
Yes, and how the family grows as well. I think that's very much what the story we're focused on telling.
Why did you choose Freeform as an outlet?
They were looking to rebrand, and they wanted to step outside their comfort zone. And as a writer, that's one of the greatest gifts you could ever have. Take some chances.
As
Okay.
a writer, I would
Yeah.
agree. So
Yeah.
So then Freeform gives you a little bit more creative room to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think even more than that, they viewed this as the spearhead for this rebranding, and so to whatever extent certain boundaries that have existed were sort of needed to be redefined. This has really been kind of making it up as we go in terms of what those boundaries are. So I don't know that we've encountered a ton of we have arguments about sort of idiosyncratic story stuff more than we have arguments about tone or violence or the sort of breadth of the ideas. They've been pretty rolling with a lot of this stuff.
how much pressure do you feel because if you kind of consider yourself the vanguard for the rebranding, how much pressure do you feel to make it work?
The only
I think it's just going to say, I mean, just seems to me, but I feel it's like an opportunity. You know what I mean? It's something that we are excited to push, something we're excited to put out. And I mean, we've all worked our hardest, not because it's something that we need to do, it's because we want to. You know what I mean? It's something that they've said, you can work your hardest and we give you this opportunity. We said yes. So we've all just decided that, this is something that's an amazing opportunity to do, and we've worked our hardest just because we want to.
Yeah, I think you tend. I mean, we're all kind of crazy about this show, so I've been in situations where it was the opposite, where the show was forgotten and they weren't planning even to program it, and you work just as hard on those too. You're just because you get obsessive about the material, and a lot of that other stuff kind of fades away until it's on, and then you start remembering that there's ratings and things that matter. But for the moment, we're really focused just on the work, on the words, and on the ideas.
I think the most pressure we face is the pressure we put on ourselves to make a great show, and we're very much telling a story that we would like to see on TV, and that sweet spot is when everyone else also agrees.
Who's the villain in this series, or the adversary? It's not Holden himself.
Adolescence.
Yeah.
So Berkeley,
Yes.
you've done a lot of TV movies. You were on House of Anubis for Nickelodeon. Do you feel that this role differs a lot from what you've previously done, or is challenging you in any new ways?
Definitely. I think I have gone through a lot of very cool sort of avenues of different roles in TV and movies and shows and lead roles and sort of different things throughout my career. And I think every job gives you a unique look at a character, at a movie. And I mean, what is so amazing about Beyond is just the depth of this character that I have never been able to sort of indulge in exploring. And being able to really dive into what it means to be this character Holden and what he goes through, and you see this sort of this journey from him from boy to man from beginning to end, and it was unbelievable to be able to do, and a really, really fun process. And it's definitely something that I hadn't done before, but it was a lot of fun.
3 adjectives to describe Holden.
3 adjectives. Okay. I would say he's sensitive. I'm hyphenated. Sensitive. He's innocent, like, sort of like a sense of discovery. He's passionate, for sure, and I think he's courageous in more ways than one of being able to throw himself in a situation, sort of the deep end, when he doesn't really know what's gonna happen.
Now use 3 adverbs.
I know, it's like going back to schooling. What is grammar? How do you use it? I know, exactly, yeah.
Well, if this takes off and becomes hugely popular, are you ready to become the next Team Hot Dog?
Hey, we hope it's going to go as far as we can. As we said, we love the show. We're very passionate about.
We're practicing making him
work.
insufferable. Every once in a while, we force him to like not accept his food and have all the green M&Ms removed from the dressing room.
Training me to have these little unique isms that everyone has to know.
So he's comfortable with it when it finally
exactly when it
happens.
happens. It's a privilege to be at a point where you gain a fan base like that, and people are so hungry to see more of you and want more of you on screen. So that is something that I would only look forward to the success of the show bringing.
We have time for one more question.
What would you guys be doing if you weren't here right now?
Tequila.
Maybe be outside at the convention.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Who knows? Yeah.
I'd be walking the floors with a costume.
Look at Boots going, Adam, wouldn't it be cool if we were on a show that was here in this convention center?
Here I am, Bruce Wayne. Do not refer to me as Adam.
If you were in a costume, what costume would you be wearing?
Oh, good question. I'll always go with Ghostbusters. I'll always go
cute.
with the original Ghostbusters.
Which one?
Which
You're Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis for sure.
I can see that.
Absolutely. That was my it's been a Halloween costume.
I was gonna say that's like you'd seen it. It's in your eyes. You've done it before.
Yeah.
Mine's Linda Blair.
Head on straight or backwards?
Good question. That's a good one.
Puking or not puking?
Oh, you would.
Depending on
Yes,
what.
I mean, there's so many. It's amazing coming to these things and realizing what the stretch of you can dress up as absolutely anything. So I think, goodness, I would something current that's caught my eye. I love the sci-fi genre in general. So I mean, whether it be even something big as like the Star Wars movies that just came out, or the Rogue One that I'm looking forward to. I just watched Stranger Things. I mean, or going back in the day and doing something like I'd be Adam's ghost that he's chasing. Who knows? But I think I'd figure out something that's hip and current and something that I just watched that I'm just really excited about, because that's the fun of coming here, is being passionate about something, putting it on, and then finding other people that are excited about the same things you are. So that's what I would do.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.